Good day, I'm Dwayne Matz. Welcome to today's Living Word. We're continuing in the book of Isaiah, chapter 10, picking it up at verse 15. Shall the axe boast itself against him who chops with it? Or shall the saw exalt itself against him who saws with it? As if a rod could wield itself against those who lift it up, or as if a staff could lift up as if it were not wood? Therefore, the Lord of hosts, will send leanness among his fat ones, and under his glory he will kindle a burning like the burning of a fire. So the light of Israel will be for a fire, and his Holy One for a flame. It will burn and devour his thorns and his briars in one day, and it will consume the glory of his forest and of his fruitful field, both soul and body. And they will be as when a sick man wastes away. Then the rest of the trees of his forest will be so few in number that a child may write them. That's Isaiah 10, 15 through 19. Well, the king of Assyria has been boasting about all of his conquering, oblivious to the fact that he was being used by God to carry out judgment against God's people, Israel. The king was like an axe saying to the woodsman, "You are nothing." But without the woodsman, the axe just lays on the ground, useless. I read one commentator who likened such arrogance to a fly on a wagon wheel, musing, "Oh, look at all the dust I'm making." Yes, God will use the king of Assyria as long as he needs him to carry out his will. But when he's through with him, the king will pay for his arrogance. The king really has no idea whom he is dealing with. The Lord of hosts, the light of Israel, God, will send ill health, leanness upon the Assyrians. He will kindle a raging destruction likened to a firestorm. The barbed wire used for defensive purposes in battle, likened to thorns and briars here, will be of no use against the judgment of the Lord of hosts. It will burn and devour his thorns and his briars in one day. You know, that recent fire, the tragic fire in Colorado, is a picture of the suddenness and completeness of the judgment of God against Assyria. When all is said and done, so few trees left standing that a child could count them. You know, when we saw those news reports, we were all stunned by the suddenness of that Colorado fire and the complete devastation. It was a literal hell on earth for those who were caught up in it. And this is what we must learn from this text today about God's final judgment. It will be sudden, swift, and utterly complete. And the only way to escape it is through God-granted faith in Jesus Christ. To play with the judgment of God is to play with fire of the everlasting kind. And we need to learn from this picture painted for us today in Isaiah. Jesus reminded us in Matthew 10:28, "Do not fear those who kill the body, but cannot kill the soul, but rather fear him who is able to destroy both soul and body in hell." I'm Dwayne Matz, and that's today's Living Word.